Hey guys, it's Katie at scrappinkaty.ctmh.com, and I have a brand new card process video to share with you using the August 2020 stamp of the month called Floral Celebrations. Now this stamp of the month, as always, from close to my heart, is only $5 with a $50 qualifying purchase. So here's a look at the stamp set, several floral designs and leaves, and then also a couple of sentiments. So I'm just going to pull off this larger flower. It's pretty solid, and put that on a block, and then take my Versamat and turn it over so I'll have a nice stamping surface. If you do not have a Versamat, each one of our stamp sets does come with a foam insert that you can use. And I'm going to be using the second generation technique as well as some sponging using a sponge dauber and some candy apple ink. So as you can see here, I just took that solid floral stamp, stamped it off on some scratch paper, took my sponge dauber with candy apple ink, and just kind of sponged around the center of that flower. I'm going to repeat this process a few more times, just kind of random stamping that flower. I don't want it to be any set pattern, but I do want some of the flowers going off the project and then kind of just creating a cluster kind of down in the bottom 2/3 of the card. So now that I've stamped those three off, I'm going to take a look at the leaves. Now there are a couple of leaf options, but I've chosen this little small one. So this is the outline portion. I've just inked that up into julep. Now julep is the color of the year that will retire at the end of August, and then we'll get a new one. So if you want that color, you need to go grab it. Now to color in the leaves, I've just turned that leaf over, and now I'm using the back side of it. Same technique, a second generation. So I'm inking it up, stamping it off, and then stamping it on my project. And I love how that kind of colors in those leaves without having to add a whole bunch of either alcohol markers or watercolors. So then I am going to attempt to kind of add some other florals from the stamp set. So there's kind of a medium-sized flower. I've inked that up in Smoothie and then stamped that off. And then I'm going to take a couple of our tri-blend markers. So this is the coral one, and the thing about our tri-blend markers is there are 3 colors in one marker. So this is the light end, and I'm just going around those petals, leaving a white space near the center. And I'm just coloring that in, really no technique whatsoever. I'm just kind of outlining those petals and kind of going toward the center. Now I'm going to take that dark end, and I'm just going to slightly outline the very edge of those petals, leaving a darker, shadow, a darker color around that outside. So when I finish this up, again, the good thing about tri-blend markers is there is a middle color. So I'm going to take that middle color and I'm going to blend that darker color and that lighter color together. And then that way there's really not a seam of colors. I hope you can tell here in a second, but I end up not using this flower, but I thought it was fun to go ahead and include this technique as well. Then I'm also taking one of the yellow markers and coloring the inside of that color to bring in that saffron from the yellow stamped flowers I already did. So at this point, I'm still thinking I'm going to use these, so I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut these out. Now, if you are a follower of mine, you know that when I fussy cut, I like to leave a tiny white border around the edge. And then it's also easier if you rotate the image instead of your scissors. So you'll see there that I've rotated that image. So I've got those cut out, as well as 3 little small flowers and then an extra set of leaves. So for my sentiment, I'm going to use the sentiment that says celebrating you. I think it's pretty versatile. It could be for a birthday, it could be for a congratulatory, anything like that. I am going to take the foam insert that comes with each stamp set, put that on the inside of my card, ink that celebrating you up in black ink, and then stamp that directly onto my project. So I really like the starkness of that black. So now I'm going to try to incorporate these flowers that I've fussy cut out and see how I can put them on. So of course the 3 flowers were just a little overbearing. So you're going to watch me kind of play with this 1 flower, but then it just kind of looks odd having one kind of flower just hanging out there. So I'm going to take this all off my project, and then I'm going to end up just going with those 3 smallest flowers. So here's where I decide, nope, not happening. So these 3 smallest flowers that I stamped off camera and fussy cut, I'm just going to add some of our thin 3D foam circles to the back of those flowers. I love these thin 3D foam circles. They're just so easy to add to flowers or little bitty small pieces. And since they're thin, it doesn't add a whole bunch of bulk to cards, which makes it easy to mail. Then I'm going to take my journaling pen and I'm going to add just my doodling dots everywhere, just here and there, just to kind of bring some more of the black in from the sentiment. And then the outside is pretty much done. So for the inside, I am going to stamp a little floral piece in that bottom right. And I love how these leaves, if you can see, there's little stems, a little one and then a longer one, and then there's a couple of styles of leaves. So I'm taking this larger leaf, inked it up in julep, and then I'm going to take this little bitty small stem, ink it up in julep, and put it right next to that larger leaf. And then I'm going to take that smaller leaf and then go ahead and ink it up in julep, kind of stamp it. And you can see the leaves aren't straight, they're just kind of askew, which I think adds funkiness to this card, which I love. Then I'm going to take that floral piece and then stamp off in smoothie ink. And then to bring that saffron to the center, I am going to take my sponge dauber and that saffron ink pad, and then kind of sponge it and just add some color to the center of that flower. And so, as you can see, again, the stamp of the month is only available during August 2020. You can get it for $5 with a $50 qualifying purchase, and I'll leave the link down below. And I'm also part of a blog hop that features nothing but artwork using the stamp of the month, and I'll leave that link down below as well. Thank you so much for watching.